and welcome to a special celebration several decades in the making. I'm Tricia Sloma.
And I'm Gary Sieber. This year marks WNDU's 70th anniversary of television broadcasting. Can you believe that? Over the next half hour, we're going to look back not only at the history of our station, but what was happening in our community and in our world.
So let's get started with a man who flipped the switch and started it all in 1955, Notre Dame's Father Theodore Hesburgh.
WNDU TV.
Television, you know, will have a tremendous impact in the years and the centuries to come on the whole culture and educational values of our country. And we want to be a part of that story.
The story of Notre Dame television.
It's a story that takes us back to 1955, when television in America was all the rage. As Father Hesburgh explained in this 2005 interview, he didn't want Notre Dame to miss out on the TV opportunity.
I think I knew that it was a new reality bursting on the scene, and no one knew where it was going to go. It seemed to me that we would be derelict as a university if we didn't get involved.
So they built WNDU right on campus. This modest building housed the commercial television station and NBC affiliate, and served as a classroom for communications students.
It's been a learning experience for hundreds and hundreds of very bright, talented students, and I'm grateful for that. I don't regret that decision. I mean, I've probably made some bad decisions along the way, but I think that was one of the good ones.
All the history took its own place in the new building, locked in behind this cornerstone.
In 1981, a news station was built. Our current home sits on the edge of campus, along State Road 933. And our current owners came in 2005, when Notre Dame sold the station to Gray Television. While so much has changed in the world of television, some things remain the same. A dedication to excellence and integrity, established 70 years ago.
Certainly we've done a lot more than we would if we'd stayed out of the competition, because education is accomplished in many ways.
But one of the big things we'll be able to do, we think, is to send out into this industry imaginative, creative people.
I think it's fair to say that we have many people in the industry today and in a leadership position that wouldn't be there if they hadn't had this experience at WNDU TV. And I think we benefited from it.
Well, your heart is in the right place. We love you for this.
As well as benefiting the local community.
Round of applause. This is amazing.
Oh, thank you. You bet.
Father Hesburgh retired as president of Notre Dame in 1987, and he continued to live at the university until his death in 2015 at the age of 97.
Yeah, 97 years old. He lived on campus, Corby Hall, you know, and his office, when he was president, the door was always open. We as students used to stop by, sometimes at 2 in the morning. He was quite a night owl, and the door would always be open. You could go in. You know, Father Hesburgh, and as it relates to WNDU, was really a very strong proponent of this station becoming a commercial TV station.
Which is different than what so many Catholic universities were doing in other parts of the country.
Virtually all universities that own TV stations became public broadcasting stations. The two exceptions were University of Missouri, where they have a big, you know, program there, commercial TV, and the University of Notre Dame, where we operated. And he always felt that he wanted students to learn from people who were professionals in commercial broadcasting, and felt that that was the direction that TV was going to go in the future, and he was right.
We owe him so much.
We do.
Well, as you can imagine, we have only scratched the surface of WNDU's 70-year time capsule.
A couple of familiar names. Maureen and Terry McFadden did retire a few years ago, but we'll have a look at where they are now when WNDU's 70th anniversary special continues.
You're watching the WNDU 70th anniversary special, and we're not in the studio anymore. Gary, we're actually in the WNDU newsroom, where a lot of work gets done every day.
Yeah, this newsroom carries a lot of significance to us historically, because when we moved in here in July of 1982, we actually shot the newscast right in this room. There was an anchor desk behind where you're standing right now. All these desks weren't here. We had fewer people. But we had studio lights. The news director's office is behind where I am, and way back in the corner here, we had a film developer. That was that 16mm film that we used to develop, and if you didn't get your film in by 4 o'clock, you couldn't have any video film on by the news at 6 o'clock.
Well, there were a lot of people who spent a lot of time in this newsroom, and two of the people I'm thinking of come to mind rather quickly is Maureen and Terry McFadden.
Mo and Bro, the brother-sister news team, and Maureen McFadden anchored the news in the studio right in here, and Terry was actually a part-time sportscaster for us when he worked in here.
So many of you have asked, where are they now? Well, we did some digging. Check it out.
You're watching WNDU TV, Channel 16, South Bend.
This is Michiana's First News.
Good evening, I'm Terry McFadden.
And I'm Maureen McFadden.
For 25 years at the anchor desk, the brother-sister news team of Maureen and Terry McFadden dominated the Michiana TV market. Mo, Terry, along with Mike Hoffman and the late Jeff Jeffers, were legendary. Terry retired in 2024 after spending 40 years in broadcasting, with over 30 years with us here at WNDU.
Toys and horsepower, you can't beat it.
Terry and his wife Laurie are still around the area, especially since their grandson Dylan was born shortly after Terry's retirement. Baby Marty came along in August, and in September, his oldest son got married. These days, Terry enjoys babysitting, cheering for the Irish, and his beloved Lions. And he still gets together with his siblings, his 3 older brothers, and sister Maureen.
If the game catches on, it may be a shot in the arm for South Bend Toy, the exclusive manufacturer of home croquet sets in our area.
Hard to believe it's been over 6 years since Maureen McFadden retired from WNDU.
Channel 16, our pride is showing.
After over 40 years in the business.
From South Bend, Maureen McFadden, News Center 16.
When she's home, Maureen helps the nurses in recovery at St. Joseph Health System. It's a volunteer position she's held for nearly 2 years, and she absolutely loves it. Mo and her husband Jim travel a lot these days to visit their 3 sons in Chicago, Texas, and Wyoming. But now there are more trips to take to see their first grandchild. Maureen's oldest son, Ryan, and his wife, Emily, welcomed little Annie Grace in October. And clearly, Maureen and Jim are over the moon. Congratulations. Oh, it's so nice to get that update from Mo and Bro. And boy, the smiles on their faces say it all. They're really happy to be grandparents.
Absolutely. But sadly, we've also lost some close friends here in the newsroom, including, you may remember, the Dean of Michiana Sports, Jeff Jeffers, and of course, the legendary Dick Addis.
WNDU TV, Channel 16, South Bend.
Before there was Mo and Bro, there was Mo, Mike Collins, Dick Addis, and Jeff Jeffers, the must-see TV of local news in Michiana.
So I guess
Dick was more than just a funny guy in a polyester sport coat.
Interesting to put all these things together.
He gave us well-informed weather and plenty of laughs before he retired in 2001. Dick passed away in 2006 at the age of 74. We'll have much more on Dick's legacy at WNDU coming up in just a moment.
Welcome back to News Center 16's Countdown to Kickoff. I'm Jeff Jeffers.
His friend and frequent antagonist, Jeff Jeffers, was known to our community as the Dean of Local Sports for more than 40 years. In Jeff's mind, there were 3 seasons: football, spring football, and waiting for football to start. And to Jeff, nothing was better than Notre Dame football.
As I walk into a high school game on a Friday night, or into Notre Dame Stadium on a Saturday afternoon, just why we do hold this game so tightly. And now I know it's because the game so tightly holds us.
He earned a graduate degree from ND and was awarded an honorary monogram in 2006 for his lifetime of support of the Irish. Sadly, Jeff passed away in 2017. He was 64.
Oh, we have some great memories, Gary, of both of those men. They were larger than life and still very much missed and loved in this community.
Absolutely.
You know, we lost our director of programming and promotions here at WNDU earlier this year. His name was Michael Fowler. He worked behind the scenes.
Yeah, he may not be known to most of you, but he had a huge hand in every 16-pack a backpack, Toys for Tots, Shred-a-thon event. He was always there. And unfortunately, we lost Michael after a battle with cancer just this past August.
Coming up, What would this place be without a few national championships and some great high school teams?
Yeah, at Notre Dame, we felt we were owed a national title every 11 years, 66, 77, 88.
The Irish are number one.
It kind of broke the string after that, but we will come back and with a look at some really great sports events that define WNDU over the years.
You know, when you think of sports here in Michiana, what comes to mind first? Well, for most of you, it's probably Notre Dame football. For others, it could be the multiple national championships from the Irish women's basketball team.
Or it could be the great tradition of high school basketball in this area. There are so many different sports we cover here at WNDU. It's time for us to take a look back at some of the biggest stories in recent memory.
It's been 70 years since WNDU first went on the air. That's before even Ara Parsegian roamed the sidelines at Notre Dame. Of course, over the years, sports here in South Bend has changed a lot. Back in 2005, we looked at the first 50 years of our station's sports coverage, and now with 2 more decades of games, it's time to recap the latest 20 years of storylines here in Michiana. When it comes to sports in South Bend, there's one obvious starting point. That's Notre Dame football. The program has always been one of the most prestigious in the sport, and that's continued recently. While there was a down period in the late 2000s, Brian Kelly became coach and then went to the national title in 2012, as well as multiple playoff appearances. Then in 2022, as defensive coordinator Marcus Freeman took over. And in his most recent season in 2024, he set the record for the most wins in a season by the Irish as he got Notre Dame back to the national title game. Now, all eyes are on Freeman to see if he can deliver the first championship win since 1988. Another premier Irish team sport is the women's basketball program. They started the 21st century with a national title in 2001 and added another in 2018 with Arike Agumbawale's 3 at the buzzer. But the biggest story might have been one single player, a 5'9" guard who led South Bend, Washington to a state title before becoming an Irish legend, Skylar Diggins. Throughout her high school to college and now eventually her pro career, WNDU has followed her for every step of the way. Speaking of local stars, the Notre Dame men's team has one of their own. Marcus Burton was Mr. Indiana basketball back in 2023 for Penn High School, who made it to the state Final Four. In his freshman season with the Irish, he was named ACC Rookie of the Year, and now with 2 years of eligibility remaining, we'll see if he can bring Notre Dame back to the NCAA tournament. The most successful team in recent history for Notre Dame, though, has been men's lacrosse. They won back-to-back national championships in 2023 and 2024, and we were there to talk with All-American players like the Kavanaugh brothers as they returned with the hardware to South Bend. But it's not just Notre Dame here. There's been minor league baseball in South Bend since 1988, and it's changed affiliations from the White Sox to the Diamondbacks to now the Cubs. Playing in High A with big stadium renovations underway, owner Andrew Berlin is making this town's ball club one of the best in the minors. We also have some of the best high school sports in both Indiana and Michigan right here in our area. We've had countless teams go to state title games in various sports, but one stands out. Here in 2025, the St. Joe boys basketball team won their program's first state championship. It's the first one for a South Bend boys basketball program since Clay back in 1994, and us here at WNDU, we're covering the Huskies every step of the way. Throughout the years, this station has had so many sports anchors and reporters tell the meaningful stories of this area. But there's a couple that stand above the rest. Jack Nolan, Chuck Freeby, and Jeff Jeffers have defined what Michiana sports coverage is. From on-the-field countdown to kickoff shows for Notre Dame football to some of the most in-depth high school reporting out there, these three have left their mark on WNDU and Michiana as a whole. Even as we look back, it's hard to fit in every sports story this area has seen because there's almost too many meaningful ones to count. But that's what makes Michiana so special. There's never a dull moment of coverage here at WNDU, and we hope to stay right there on the sidelines, capturing it all for the next 70 years.
A look back at our WNDU history includes catching up with our past TV talent. You know, one of our broadcasters was a jack of all trades. His name, Jack Nolan.
Of course, my old buddy. He was a fixture on Saturday mornings with me and, of course, in the sports department. Where's is he now? Let's take a look.
We need to check in with Gary Sieber now for a look at what the weather is going to be like for the implosion. It looks like it's going to be a heck of a day, Gary, but what about those winds?
Looks like the wind should stay down rather nicely. We anchored 16 Saturday morning news together for 15 years. Jack Nolan helped launch the show back in 1994.
Now, the week culminated on the field with the players after they'd taken home the national championship trophy.
But it was actually sports that brought Jack to Michiana. He did play-by-play for Notre Dame football and especially men's basketball games for close to 40 years, earning a number of awards and honors along the way.
Laszewski for three! Got it!
Jack met his match at WNDU, literally. Rhonda Brown was a part-time weather forecaster who eventually became his wife. Together, they anchored our Sunday morning news. This fall, they'll be married 40 years. After leaving the station in 2006, Jack continued his sports coverage with Fighting Irish Digital Media. He retired to Florida in 2021, but doesn't sit around on the beach. Oh no, I don't think Jack ever sat around more than 3 or 4 seconds. Jack and Rhonda are now world travelers and enjoy exploring new countries and cultures.
I love catching up with our good friends, Jack and Rhonda.
The well-traveled couple. In fact, as we tape this, they're on a cruise ship off the coast of Brazil, headed toward, believe it or not, Antarctica.
Incredible. So lucky.
So cold.
Yes. Hey, don't go anywhere. We still have a lot to go on our 70th anniversary special, including a look back at the stories that made headlines through all of those years.
Stay there.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching a celebration of WNDU's 70th anniversary. I'm Tricia Sloma.
And I'm Gary Sieber. I've only been here for 45 years of that history, and you've been here for a lot of it, too.
33.
Yeah, we've got a lot of, well, combined, we've been here for the whole history of the station,
There you
right?
go.
Yeah.
Well, you know, a lot has happened over the last 70 years, but our chief photographer, Don Schoenfeld, and anchor Lauren Moss tried to tackle the impossible with this next piece.
It's a look back at just some of the stories that shaped Michiana over all that time. Take a look.
The early days of television brought us black and white film of key moments in Michiana history.
Our cameras were there when things were rolling along and when things ground to a halt December 9th, 1963.
It was devastating news, terrible news.
From the untimely closure of Studebaker to Vietnam War protests and riots,
there were a lot of bullets flying, firemen were being shot at.
WNDU had the story.
6 huge F3 and F4 tornadoes nailed northern Indiana, killing more than 49 people in Elkhart County alone.
When powerful people come to Michiana, WNDU viewers have a front row seat.
Mr. President, how did you like your visit?
I love my visit and I love Michigan City. Thank you.
From Ike in '52 to President Trump in 2018 and all the other presidents in between.
It was to this team that Rockne told the story and so inspired them that they rose above their personal animosities for someone they had never known.
Perhaps Jimmy Carter did some of his best work outside of the White House, like helping to build one habitat home at a time, working beside strangers like Ambera Pruitt so the homeownership dreams of she and others could become a reality.
Some powerful people are homegrown.
I knew Joe Kernan long before this picture was taken, long before he was mayor, lieutenant governor, and governor. When I was 15, Joe and Maggie Kernan bought the home across the alley from my family's home.
He always put himself in a position to say, what can I do to make a difference, to make it better, not just for our neighborhood, but for every neighborhood in this South Bend community.
By all indications, we are going on to New Hampshire victorious.
The existence of my family is just one example of something that was literally impossible. As recently as 25 years ago, when an anxious teenager growing up in Indiana wondered if he would ever find belonging in this world.
The Senate confirmed Judge Amy Coney Barrett as the newest justice of the United States Supreme Court.
I never imagined that I would find myself in this position. But now that I am, I assure you that I will meet the challenge with both humility and courage.
Of course, the major concern is human loss. I mean, do you know if there were many people in the building?
Oh, another one just hit. Something else just hit. A very large plane just flew directly over my building.
National stories often have a local tie.
Yes.
The Michiana community had connections to this.
We got to see how our community's responding to all this.
This community has always been a tight community, but 9/11 was really something to behold. It brought a lot of people together.
And just, heartbroken and devastated by, kind of the news today is, just kind of hard for folks that know her. Jackie was, a tireless worker and just, cared a lot about this area.
Sometimes those who work and serve our community become the story we don't want to see.
It feels so good to know that so many people care.
Right now, there are people struggling to breathe, fighting the effects of COVID-19.
The pandemic also proved to be a trying time for Michiana. We adapted our reporting, but we remained on the air.
Hold your head up. Look up while you do it. There you go.
So that's translated to him to have a better quality of life with his boys and his wife.
And honor the medical heroes, the doctors and nurses who save lives in local hospitals.
I don't feel like I thought I would. I've always said that I would be screaming on the rooftops, but we're not.
Our reporting brought light to very dark situations.
Richard Allen has been found guilty of the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German.
They were a great bunch of kids. They were survived by their father, David.
Well, one thing I can tell you, being in this room at the convention hall early today, listening to a lot of these speakers, the message they wanted to push home is that do not let the Smith Six, as they're calling them, their deaths be in vain. We know that there are a lot of you talking on social media about certain things, where the investigation will go next, but today is about, and has always been about, those kids.
What we thought mattered this morning at about 6:55 really doesn't matter.
4 children were hit by a pickup while boarding their school bus. Tonight, 3 young kids from the same family are dead. The 4th child was badly injured.
And change for the future.
The Max Strong School Bus Safety Act is in memory of 3 children who lost their lives at their school bus stop in Fulton County. Today, the governor signed the bill in their memory.
But this is going to save our babies when they go to and from school.
Owen's last words were, "Look out, we're going to die." Owen was a hero, and this is a little honor in him, for him, and his family can know that no other child will die in a school bus accident here ever again.
And we were there for 16 Blastcast.
As our community grows and develops, we'll be here.
Biggest employer. It was hard to see it go, but in many respects, it was the start of the rebirth of Mishawaka. You can't snap your fingers and just have a demolition followed by, a vibrant downtown. It takes a lot of follow through, a lot of commitment and continuity over many administrations, and we've had that.
We have 3 other sites. We want them to complement each other, not feed off each other. So I think this first phase is a very calculated way of testing the market.
What's exciting for us is that no matter what, we're going to see those contributions made that we talked about, and we're well above the level that would get us the $2 million minimum in terms of revenue to the city.
Many community members and partners saw the event as the perfect way to give back.
On an annual basis, we like to contribute and do our fair share.
Because this is home, and community involvement is our specialty.
And it is amazing to see the thousands, literally thousands of toys behind us.
Thank you. Thank WNDU and the Marines for doing this, and it's a community effort.
Welcome back to our special celebrating WNDU's 70th year of broadcast television. One of the things that's changed the most, I would have to say, is technology.
Yeah, nothing has changed more than technology. And you can see from our little time tunnel here, we're going to work over from one side to the other. We worked on manual typewriters. You had to slam your fingers into these keys. This was fitted with all capital letter strikers. So anything you typed on that, you didn't have to hit the shift key, it would type it. But no electricity, no laptop, no internet, nothing existed. So we typed on these manual typewriters. This is my first one from when I came to the station in 1979. And you had 6-ply carbon copy paper that would go in there. One copy for the teleprompter, one for the anchor, one for the producer, etc. But you really had to slam the keys down to get that strike all the way through.
Thankfully, they had electric typewriters when I started, and then quickly moved into word processors, so and then computers. So
I remember the first computer that came in too.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Quite an advancement. That's true. Speaking of advancements on the video side, this camera right here is a Bell & Howell 70 series camera. They started making those in 1923, and it saw service in World War II, Korea, Vietnam. This is a wind-up camera. There's no battery with it, so we were shooting on silent film. This was 16mm film, no audio, but that's what we used back when we first signed on in 1955 and into the early 60s.
When did we move to sound and film?
Well, that was this camera. That's Fresolini, 16mm. You can see more gadgets on the front side of it, so there are more audio controls there. And this did record an audio track on the film. If you were to shoot audio with this one, it had to be on a separate audio recorder, and then you had to sync them together later. So this one synced them all. You can see the feed and the take-up reel here up on top, and we used that in the late 60s, early 70s, even into the mid to late 70s before we made the switch to videotape.
And videotape, well, it really changed everything. It was heavy.
Very heavy. These film cameras were actually a lot lighter, even though the new technology gave us so much more flexibility in editing, for example. With the old film, you had to actually take a razor blade, slice the film, and put it together with splicing tape. With videotape, it was all electronically edited. You didn't have to do any of that, but those cameras were very heavy to lug around in the early days.
That one carried, if you carried it, well, how much would it that
Probably
weigh?
about 40 pounds, and you've got all of that on one shoulder, so a lot of photographers are walking around leaning to one side these days with back problems. But those were the staple of the camera in the 90s and early 2000s, and now, of course, our cameras have gone much, much smaller and lighter than they used to be.
And we have that image up right now. These beautiful cameras, they are quick. You can get out the door in moments and be able to cover live and connect live. But of course, the phone is something that we can connect with you live as well. And it can shoot video as well.
You can shoot video on these, you can shoot audio. These probably have at least as good a quality, certainly, as the film cameras and probably some of the earlier video cameras. It's so light, so easy, you can do everything. So, you know, technology has changed so much in the way that we do things, and the way that we originate live shots, for example, has gotten so much simpler with the use of digital technology.
Well, just a sampling of what we've been through to bring you the stories from right here at WNDU. Thank you, Gary.
Sure.
And you can put all the stuff back in your basement.
That's collecting a lot of dust, like me.
Hey, coming up, before Saturday Night Live, there was a special show that was recorded right here at WNDU, and it was sketch comedy, and it was all called Beyond Our Control. We've got the story when we come back.
And welcome back to our 70th anniversary special. News, weather, sports, that's pretty much what we're known for here at WNDU. Long before Saturday Night Live was being broadcast on NBC, though, WNDU itself produced a sketch comedy show. It was called Beyond Our Control.
As part of our 70th anniversary, we're taking a look back at a successful local weekly comedy production. Started as a junior achievement program at WNDU,
comes the toughest 3 women to ever walk the perilous streets of Wakarusa.
This educational opportunity put high school kids in charge. Even the founder of WNDU, Notre Dame President Father Ted Hesburgh, joined in the fun.
Great honor to have you on our show, Father, and give you a little token of appreciation. Here's a Beyond Our Control button. So, thanks a lot. God bless you. Thank you.
It was utterly unique. I can find other examples of junior achievement TV shows, but most of them were talk shows.
Chris Becker is writing a book about Beyond Our Control and the show's talented list of alums.
Emmy winner Larry Karaszewski, screenwriter, was an alum. There's David Simpkins, who wrote Adventures in Babysitting. Dan Waters, who wrote Heathers. In New York went Tracy Page Johnson. She co-created Blue's Clues and Gabby's Dollhouse.
It was when we were doing the pilot and we didn't have a lot of money to, pay like a voiceover talent. So we sort of went around the room and said, "Can you bark? Can you bark? Can you bark?" And I could bark. Not only did it introduce me to television, but I also found my husband, who was also a BOCer, and we have a new little baby. So if I didn't have Beyond Our Control, there'd be no Blue's Clues, and I might not have met my soulmate.
There's actors like Dean Norris, Circus Zalewski. There's, tons of people working in post-production and production design.
Donnie Rogers owns a video production company with his wife, Andrea. She was also in the cast.
But this would leave a very nasty, bad taste in your dessert.
Leela Diga went to L.A. and is now a Grammy Award winner.
It's kind of shocking for that time. Maybe now everybody can make a movie on their phone, but back then, we had to run cable, we had to hang lights, and it was work, but we didn't care about it because we knew we were going to have a great time when it was done.
And we had to work as a team.
Yes.
We all had to come together, and we learned how to work as a team and to bounce ideas off each other and go to the writing meetings and write the scripts and collaborate on them and then pull it all together on Saturday morning.
Hi, Wally Fritter here, and boy, have I got a sale for you. Yes, Wally ooped again, so I'm having I left the light on in the bathroom and I got to pay the light bill sale. Take a look at these super savings.
And it would air Saturday night. Years later, it ran on Sunday. It had quite the following. And to think, it started 7 years before Saturday Night Live.
It's also the case that BOC often did sketches that SNL did later, and I'm not saying Lorne Michaels had a plant in South Bend watching the show or anything, but it just shows how clever, smart, attuned to the media world the BOCers were, because they recognized what was there ripe for the picking, for parody.
Insert the knife in the spine.
Some sketches pushed the boundaries.
Then up and around until you hear the...
We did a bit called Cooking with Smurfs. And Smurfs were a very popular animated feature on television then. The community didn't take kindly to recipes involving the Smurfs. And so we got quite a few phone calls on that.
It's staggering to think about it now that we were in high school, and not only the things we could get away with, but the things that we were allowed to do and get away with.
Beyond anyone's imagination. How fun. This show had a 19-year run from 1967 to 1986. You can find those past episodes on YouTube. And Chris expects her book that is called Beyond Our Control. It's going to be out in the year 2027, and we'll keep you posted.
Right. Safe to say that Junior Achievement Program could not be done today. No way.
We couldn't. They still have reunions back here on campus. They just held one a few months ago. They love to come back. There's still people in our community that ask about Beyond Our Control.
Sure.
Every now and then you see someone wearing a T-shirt, Beyond Our Control.
Yeah, with a cast and crew that went on to win Oscars and Emmys. Amazing show.
Incredible.
Yeah.
All right, still to come. From tornadoes to extreme floods and droughts, a look at how our weather team has kept you safe.
And that includes a special tribute to the one and only Dick Addis. Weather word, folks.
WNDU's 70th celebration continues. There have been some incredible weather events in Michiana, and WNDU was here for it all.
Yeah, my first winter here was the blizzard of 78.
Oh, my.
15-foot ice, snow drifts, all that kind of stuff. But here's Chief Meteorologist Matt Engelbrecht with more.
It's all of Michiana, all of northern Indiana, and the slim sliver of southwestern Michigan right now under a tornado watch.
When early spring tornadoes hit Michiana, our first alert weather team was here to keep you safe. We have a long history of that.
It sounded like a big freight train.
Let's start with the Palm Sunday tornadoes of 1965 that took aim at Elkhart County and 5 other Midwestern states.
When the sun came up the next day, the devastation was total on the south and east side of Napanee.
And a rare October tornado tore through Napanee in 2007.
Thunderstorms rapidly developing all across the area.
Storm Team 16's Mike Hoffman tracked it all. Our early alerts credited with saving lives.
Watching the news, watching the weather reports, the lights went out, the sirens came on,
And we took and put the little ones in the downstairs bathroom and pulled the door shut, and the windows went and the roof went, and we stayed there till they came and got us.
Sitting at home for a few days, couldn't go out, couldn't go anywhere.
Everyone still talks about the blizzard of '78 and the incredible images from that cold week in late January. But we still get major snow and ice events that close schools and businesses. But in 2011, we had another blizzard worth talking about. This one dumped nearly 40 inches of snow on parts of Michiana.
Soil's awfully dry down here in the root zone.
Farmers will tell you one of the worst droughts in modern times hit our area in 1988.
Indiana itself, nearly the entire state is in drought conditions, and that's the worst it's ever been.
But 2012 was also a tough year. It was called the Michiana mega drought that hurt crops and livestock.
Oh, that is so scary.
Floods are making headlines around the country these days.
Just a mess. The street was completely flooded. The cars were underwater.
But in Michiana, the 1,000-year flood hit South Bend and Walkerton hard, leaving homes and businesses damaged.
I'm in Keller Park, where this area is normally known as a river walk, and today this entire community has become just that.
A similar story hit again in February of 2018, when our region saw flooded streets, homes, and businesses.
From the mid-1960s to the early 2000s, viewers tuned in to see Dick Addis deliver the weather. And I remember he was quite the character.
He was quite a character. Nobody was faster with a grease pencil on lucite than Dick Addis. First Alert meteorologist Jack Van Meter put together a special story about Dick. He found a box of his fan mail, and I got to help him go through it. Take a look.
And check out that severe weather outlook through tonight. We're right in the target zone, and there are several watch boxes valid tonight.
Dick Addis, a name that resonates with Michiana and a legend of WNDU. Dick was our station's first chief meteorologist and an early pioneer of not just broadcast meteorology, but TV itself. Lori Miller has been a longtime viewer of Channel 16 since moving to Michiana in 1976. She has fond memories of watching Dick cover the weather.
He was a little goofy, and he did remind me of that. And I thought it was fun, you know, to take something that I really enjoyed. I've always been interested in the weather, and take something like that and make it fun, make it something people want to listen to. And yet he seemed very knowledgeable. It wasn't like reading a newspaper where it was all just black and white. In some ways, you never knew what you're going to get. And so it was fun to listen and say, well, what's he going to say today? What's he going to do today?
Santa may have to dodge the lightning and thunder this evening?
Yes, he could get electrocuted, so I guess...
That's terrible to say, Dick.
I guess
no, Santa will not get electrocuted. He'll be just fine. We'll be right back.
Staying on the topic of iconic WNDU meteorologists, I sat down with Gary Siebert to talk about his time working with Mr. Addis.
He was sort of bigger than life because he was this quintessential 70s weather guy. He was half comedian, half weather meteorologist, greasy hair, mutton chop sideburns, loud jackets. I mean, and people still sort of chuckle about that because they grew up with this character.
Sitting at home for a few days, couldn't go out.
Many people still have memories of the infamous blizzard of '78. Dick was on top of it nearly around the clock, making sure Michiana stayed safe and informed.
And Dick Addis was on almost 24/7. So we're watching this. He was staying here, well, not at this building, but at the little building we had on campus. Dick was staying at the station. He was sleeping overnight and you know, just constantly on the air doing all this weather reporting.
And I remember for a week, you really couldn't get out of the house, and they had to have big end loaders come down the street to move the snow. Our front door was completely drifted over, couldn't find our car in the driveway. We had to go out through a back door and kind of shovel our way around.
Dick officially retired back in 2001, and since then he has left a box of letters behind. The cardboard box contains dozens of letters dating as far back as the late 60s through the early 80s. The letters are a mixed bag, with some praising him. The only reason I continue to watch WNDU News is exclusively your approach to weather reporting, degrading him.
I tried to watch the weather, and instead I got some guy named Dick Addis trying to do a comedy show. We want the facts.
And has installed
lightning arresters on the sleigh as he passes over Michiana tonight.
Or just viewers speaking their mind.
Interesting. It says, Dear Dick, you're our favorite weatherman, but you're driving me crazy since we've got these new weather maps. You stand in front of Michigan and Indiana, and I can't see. It says, please stand in the Pacific and use a pointer. I love that one.
If you ask many of our longtime residents of Michiana about their favorite local meteorologist, many, if not all, will name Dick Addis. He was larger than life on and off the screen, but more importantly, a staple in the community and was active for multiple decades.
And finishing off our forecast for the day, it doesn't need to be said, but here we are. Legendary.
Legendary. What a perfect weather word.
One of Dick's many weather words. There was mighty mutable, fairly fickle, big boomers, baby. But you know, it was the weather word that led to the weather could be verse.
Yeah, he had a hand in that because, what, he was sick?
Yeah, he was out for a couple of weeks. I filled in for him, and I didn't want to steal his weather word shtick, so I did a poem, as I have for our 70th anniversary. Here you go. For 70 years, we've had news and programming beaming into your homes. New sets, new graphics, new technologies. Same old stupid poems.
Oh, no, don't say that. You know, people love your poems every Saturday morning, and you know what? Gary has a book of his poetry, and it's a fundraiser?
It is, for a local community theater group, so it's been fun to put those together. There's a lot of history in that book, too. Dick, of course, has retired. I have not yet, but we welcome other talented and popular, long-lasting forecasters at WNDU after Dick. A lot of you have been asking, where are they now? So here's an update on Mike, Cindy, and Gordy.
Quite so quickly. So if this tornado would remain on the ground, it would put it...
The always reliable chief meteorologist Mike Hoffman started at WNDU in 1994.
Good afternoon, I'm Mike Hoffman.
And kept Michiana safe from many storms in his 27 years on the air. When he retired in 2021, Mike and his wife Cindy moved to West Lafayette, near the campus of his beloved Purdue University. He works part-time for Purdue's Science Express. Mike and Cindy love to camp and still enjoy their mission work. They recently welcomed their 5th granddaughter. Congratulations, Mike, and boiler up.
Here's your Storm Team 16 forecast.
Cindy Clausen worked weekends here at WNDU for nearly 20 years.
As we head through the overnight hours.
Who remembers the time she got a little help from her then 4-year-old son, Kevin?
Forecast. Do you want to help do the weather, Kevin?
Cindy now works in marketing here in Michiana. And with weekends off, she has a lot more time for traveling with her husband, Rick. Can you believe their son is now a sophomore in high school?
The clouds are going to be on the increase as we go through it today.
For 16 years, we laughed with, and many times at, Gordy Young.
Hey, watch it there, anchor lady. I can't go down here.
He left WNDU in 2010. After that, he spent some time at the local PBS station before moving to his home state of Wisconsin to be closer to family. Gordy became an announcer at the Tommy Bartlett Ski Show in the Wisconsin Dells. But these days, he's back with his old radio partner from his early broadcast days on WMDX-FM in Madison, Wisconsin. And yes, as you can imagine, it's a fun and award-winning morning show.
We've been so busy looking at the past, we need to stay in touch with what's happening at the station right now.
A look at how we bring you the news today and in the future as WNDU's 70th anniversary special continues. Boy, Gary, it's been fun looking back at all the changes over 70 years here at WNDU. And you think back to the very beginning. Well, now we have 45 newscasts a week, 5 podcasts, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, our interactive website with links to find us on things like Roku and YouTube.
But the more things change, the more they stay the same. Still, putting on a newscast takes a talented team of professionals. Let's take a look.
Hey there, everyone. We are in our WNDU newsroom right now, which is relatively new. Within the last 5 years or so, we've had this newsroom. It kind of reminds you of an Apple store. Not really, but it's got enough screens you can see behind me, which is how we keep an eye on everything that's happening in real time, whether it's here at home or national news. It's very important to us. And in fact, I want to show you guys this. This area is pretty new to us, and we're just learning how to take advantage of it and use it to its full extent. This is the OTT desk. OTT meaning over the top. Basically what that means, it's directly to you, directly to the consumer. We are reaching you where you are. So usually you would have on TV, right? You would have something on the radio, you would get your news from a newspaper. This reaches you exactly where you are, whether it's on Facebook or on social media. We can go live here. You can see our camera right there and our camera guy right here as well. And we can also use this on TV if we need to as well. This is a really unique way and something that a lot of newsrooms do not have in order to bring the news directly to you. This is really the future of many newsrooms, and so we're glad to have this. Our newsroom here, we've got a lot of new reporters. You've probably seen them on our air if you watch Channel 16 often. Obviously, we've got a lot of screens here. Like I said, we keep an eye on the competition as well, but we also watch the news of the day happening around the world to make sure you are informed. And so that's why we have all these TVs, which includes even a radar at one point. We use that if need be in the newsroom to keep an eye on that snow or severe weather in the spring, summer times. One of the many ways we like to keep you informed there. I'm going to walk over here because Caroline Clapp is actually at her desk. She's working hard. She is our I-team investigator. She is leading that department, that unit here. And that's relatively restarted here at WNDU. I know back in the day you guys used to watch us. We used to do a lot of reports, specifically investigations. We're doing that more now because we know that's something that you at home care about, and that is something that we'll continue to pay attention to and to hone in on. And so Caroline, she leads that group, our I-team investigator right there, continue to work as she always does. Look, we've got a newsroom full of working folks, whether you're editing, whether you are producing. In this case, we talked about digital, and it's really, really important. Behind me, this is our digital space right here. This is like our digital hub, and we also keep an eye on the competition here because we know everyone has a phone in their hands. In fact, we're shooting this with a cell phone, if you didn't notice that. And so that is why it's important that this space right here is probably one of the most valuable in our entire newsroom. And so Andy right here, he leads that, and we're proud of that, and we're proud of this unit as well to make sure you get the news and make sure you get it right away as soon as it's happening. You probably also heard scanners. We've got those too. So we can hear scanners in speakers above my head and all the way on this side of the newsroom as well. We have these speakers in place so that everyone is on one accord. And just in case we don't hear something over here, we've got our team back here in this side of the newsroom that can hear news as it's happening right here in our community. So that's the newsroom. We've got more places to show you though. So this is where you witness probably a lot of our award-winning reporting right here in Studio A where I am. Again, this is the place where everything happens, really the nucleus outside of the newsroom itself. This is like the mitochondria, I guess, if you want to talk about cells. So this place is where you see Lauren, is where you see Trisha, is where you see all of the gangs and all the teams in this place. We've got reporters who use this space as well to help with their storytelling. I want to actually move over because part of that storytelling is first alerting you to everything that's happening in the weather department. And we know that is of huge importance to so many people who watch us. So this is our First Alert Weather Lab. An actual weather lab with all these TV screens. Data is coming in on these computers as well. And that is important to our team, our First Alert forecasters and meteorologists who work here at 16 News Now to keep you safe and informed. And those push alerts you get comes exactly from this place, from those forecasters here and those meteorologists who continue to keep you safe every single day. So we showed you the newsroom, we showed you the studio. Notice there was no one in the studio outside of the talent, really. That's normal because everything happens here. This is really the future of this building. All of these guys, they call them technical media producers or TMPs. They work with our producers to make what you see on air happen. So from those lower thirds all the way to the background behind us on the anchor desk being blue, these guys working with our producers to make all of that happen. Again, by the press of a button. All right, the last part I have to show you guys, this room is relatively new to us. It's our podcast room. We've got several award-winning podcasts that we bring to you both on WNDU.com and wherever you stream. And that includes Pot of Gold, Something Extra, 16 Sports Extra. We even have the Morning Stretch. We have so many more that I can tell you about that I can't think of at the top of my head. We've got movie reviews, we've got game reviews. All of that happens in this room. We could take it live. You'll see it as it's happening. Or sometimes we record those podcasts here as well. This is just one of the many ways we wanted to show you that WNDU 16 News Now is not just giving you everything now, but we're looking into the future and we are reaching you where you are, whether it's on air, online, or on your phone, just like this entire segment has been filmed. Back to you guys.
It never ceases to amaze me how much things have changed since 1955 and how things have stayed the same.
So true. The technology changes, the people change, the audience changes. But just taking a look at that crew of dedicated news people and our current staff, I'm optimistic, and I'm reminded unfortunately, of how you and I both looked way back in the day.
Come on, those were good hairstyles.
Hey.
Hey, the enthusiasm is still there, isn't it? And I can remember people in our newsroom like Tom Rinaldi.
Yeah, and I remember working the morning shift with Ann Thompson, who's gone on to become a reporting legend at NBC Nightly News, and of course Hannah Storm when she was only an intern here at WNDU.
To all of those who have worked here at WNDU over the years, and especially to all of you who have watched our station for a long, long time, we say thank you.
Yep, and tomorrow we start what we hope will be another 70 years. Thanks for joining us.